Hi, welcome to M&A Ambassadors, Becoming the USP, the Ultimate Sales Professional. Now, on this episode, I want to talk about brush-offs. I mentioned at the end of the previous episode that when you're on the phone, there would be times when clients might not want to talk to you and might want to quickly brush you off. Now, this can happen even when leads have been generated based on campaigns and you call a person and then they've lost their interest or they might have gone with another broker, so they don't want to talk to you, so they will tend to brush you off. It can also happen if you go through the company history. There might have been leads generated for previous campaigns and you want to reach out to them because you have an amazing opportunity now. So what they would normally do is use a brush off. So what is a brush off? A brush off is a statement that they make very early in the call because they're telling you, I don't want to continue with the call. So a brush off could be things like, I'm busy right now, I'm in a meeting, send me a WhatsApp, send me an email, I'm driving, I'm not interested. These are the typical kinds of brush offs that you would get. So how do you deal with them? Firstly, you need to understand what is a brush off, what's really happening, the psychology behind it, and then I'll give you techniques to handle 4 of the most common brush offs that you get. So, what's really happening here with the brush off? Firstly, it is not an objection. So let's be clear about this. An objection is a good thing. It means someone has been listening to what you're saying, they're analyzing it, and they're just not convinced, or the data that they have might be clashing with what you're presenting. That's a good thing, right? A brush off is an abrupt statement that they want to stop speaking with you. It usually comes in the first 5 to 7 seconds of the call. So what's really happening and why does the client use this? Because many brokers get confused with this and the client actually sells you the idea that he's not interested or that he's busy. So let me draw it out for you on the board so you can understand what's happening when you contact that client. So let's say you make the call. Now the client is going to answer. This is how the conversation is going to flow in the call. Now, once the client answers, you're going to introduce yourself. You will have a standard introduction that you use. Now, you need to be careful about your introduction because if it sounds so much like what typical salespeople use, you are going to build resistance immediately. Something like a wall comes up in the mind of the person you're talking to. And so when he recognizes that you're a broker or a salesperson, what he does immediately is he tells you, I'm busy. Something to that effect. Call me back later, I'm in a meeting. Now, you need to understand he is not busy. Today, we have millionaires and billionaires who are getting constant phone calls all day, 10, 15, 20 calls. So they do not answer unrecognized numbers, especially if they're in a meeting. But if he answered the call, then it means he can speak to you. However, the moment he realized that you are a salesperson or a broker, he said, I'm busy. And he says this without even thinking, because that's exactly what he says to every person who calls him. And he knows the response that is going to come from 90% of the brokers, which is, when is a good time to speak? Something to this effect. Can I call you back in an hour? Or would 4 o'clock in the evening work for you today? When is a good time to speak? Something to that effect is coming, for which he has his unconscious response ready. 3 p.m. would be fine. Now call him back at 3 p.m. and he doesn't answer the phone. You see, you got to understand one thing. These 2 resistances that came from the client are brush offs. But these are made without any thought. The client says this to every person who calls him. So the moment he answers and he realizes that this is a broker, he says, I'm busy right now. But he's picked up the phone, so he is definitely not busy. He sells you the idea you're busy. So once he does that, he knows you're going to ask, when is a good time to speak? And when you do that, you get 3 p.m. as a standard answer. There's no thought in 3 p.m. This is what he has told everybody else. And you try him at 3 p.m., he's not going to pick up the phone. So the secret to getting your leads to engage with you and to speak on the phone, especially it might be a lead from previous contacts that you have who may not be expecting a call at that moment. The secret is to cancel this out. Your introduction needs to change so that he doesn't say, I'm busy. And once this is gone, he doesn't know what to do next because you don't have to ask, when is a good time to speak? And when that has been now cancelled out, the 3 p.m. will not happen. So what's the secret here? How do you take control? You see, I'm busy, and 3 p.m. is his unconscious pattern. It's his area of confidence and comfort. So he can say it very comfortably. What you need to do is this comfort and confidence, you need to destroy this. And what you need to introduce is confusion. Confusion is where he can no longer rely on his standard patterns, and he'll have to go with you in every single moment as you speak. That's how you will be establishing the control. All right. So let me give you just a very simple example, and that's where we will stop the video for today. In the next video, I will give you 4 brush offs and the techniques to handle it. So there's a formula, there's a structure that you would use. So the structure would always be, you will take the name of the person, you'll have an empathy statement, you will give a justification, and you will end with a positive question. Okay? That's your formula that you will follow. Name, empathy, justification, and positive question. So let's say you called this person. It was a campaign generated lead, or they may have spoken 6 months ago with one of your colleagues. And after you've introduced yourself, and then if they say something like, yeah, but I'm busy right now, I would simply take the name. I'd say, Ahmed, I understand. I'll quickly check if I can add value, and we'll reschedule the call for later. Is that okay with you? Let me repeat that again. Ahmed, I understand. I'll quickly check if I can add value, and we'll reschedule the call for later. Is that okay with you? 7 out of 10 clients will tell you, okay, make it quick. Once you get that permission, simply use a power word, excellent. And then go straight into the call. All right? So Ahmed, I understand. I'll quickly check if I can add value, and we'll reschedule the call for later. Is that okay with you? All right, make it quick. Excellent. And from there you come into the call. Now, this is the formula that you will use. But there are 4 typical brush offs, which are, I'm busy right now, send me WhatsApp or email, I'm driving, I'm not interested. So how to deal with each one of them is what we will look at in the next video. I'll give you a clear technique for each and every one of these common brush offs. So practice what you heard today, say it a few times to yourself, use it on your calls from now on, and watch your communication go up in the calls. Watch the conversion rates become a lot higher. Okay, I want to thank you for your time with us on M&A Ambassadors and USP, becoming the ultimate sales professional.